What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Bobby Fi here. Rody should be joining me any minute. We know Sheets is out on the golf course, so good luck to him out there and to his lineups. We'll see how that goes. Looks like Rody's just popping in right now, and we'll get him in here in just a second. There it is. What's going
What's
on,
up?
Rody?
Hey, man. What's up? You hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
Awesome. Good. What's up?
Nice. Well, we got a fun one. It's nice to be back doing the show. I'm glad you're here with me, and unfortunately we don't have Sheets today, but we'll get through it and talk through what we like. Anything that you sort of want to jump in with before we get into some of the plays and then stacks and all that stuff?
I don't have too much. We have some weird stuff today for sure. I kind of like correlating my lamps a little bit more this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some good games we want to attack, and we'll just go from there as we talk through the slate here.
Sounds good to me. We'll start off by positions. I mean, it's going to lead into some stacks and whatnot, but we'll go back position by position, and then we'll sort of figure out where we're headed. I'm trying to keep my screen separate so I can see my my ownership and exposures, so I don't get anything wrong where I'm at the moment. Things are still going to maybe change a little bit. We don't have the updated injury reports for another 30 minutes, but let's get started with quarterbacks and. Rody, who are you looking at the most, I guess, which is probably leaning towards stacks, although I think we can make a lot of cases that you could play some of these running quarterbacks with other stacks. What are you looking at today in terms of
Yeah, I mean, for what you're just saying there, I have started looking into these more expensive quarterbacks. Like you talk about these running quarterbacks like Lamar and Josh Allen, and Justin Fields, even Jalen Hurts would be in that category. As he's not an option that I like today as much. But I mean, I liked a lot of the lower priced quarterbacks like the Jared Goff at 6K, Joe Burrow obviously at 6'6" in that Jacksonville Cincy game. I think that's a game we like stacking up. And then you could talk about Trevor Lawrence at 5'6" for the price tag there. And then we have the so that's a good game to target. But then you have this really cheap. What are we doing with the cheap quarterback, the Mac Jones 4K? Are we stacking him up any? The Saints haven't looked very good. That game could be big. It could be not good for Mac Jones, but 4K is pretty cheap. You can fit a lot in there. I'm really liking the Cincy game in Jacksonville. I like the Dallas and Giants game. I like Dak. I think he's reasonably priced with his weapons at 5'9" and CeeDee Lamb. I think that game could be a little bit bigger shootout. And then I like the Lions game, which is a little lower owned. That's my lower owned pivot game today. That's kind of what I'm going to. And I don't mind these running quarterbacks like Justin Fields at 5'7". If he gets the pass attempts that they're projecting him to get, I mean, he could be running and passing the ball a little bit. That game could be a little bit higher shootout than we think. I don't know. What are you thinking, Bobby? How's that?
So I'm into. I actually have a little bit more spread out, but there's a lot of good quarterback options on the slate. Like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar. I've got about the same amount of them, and they're my highest owned quarterbacks, followed by Dak, Mahomes, Fields, and Hurts. And then I have a little bit of the Mac Jones and the Trevor Lawrence. Those are the sort of the main ones, little sprinkles of Daniel Jones, Caleb Williams. I have a couple Bo Nix lineups, but mostly it's going to be focused on the Allen, Burrow, Jackson. And I think Fields is what I'm going to end up doing in some of my hand builds. Fields you can spend down and you get a similar type of rushing upside. Look, nobody has quite the upside that Lamar and Josh Allen have, but I do think that Fields is a very interesting play, and I'm not sure about this Buffalo defense yet. So I kind of like the idea of using some more Fields. That's probably the one I get on more than I have right now. I would say possibly the most, actually, of any of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, he had 48 rushing yards and 218 passing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. So,
yep. And we've seen it before with him. We've seen
31
him put up 40
points is pretty
fantasy
good.
points.
What's that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I was just saying we've seen it before. We've seen the crazy 40 fantasy point games when he was in Chicago.
Well, think about this. Lamar Jackson just did the same thing against this Bills defense, right?
Yep.
We just seen it, right? About same yards, 209 for Lamar. And then Lamar also ran for 70 yards. He just outran Buffalo's defense just last game, right?
Yeah.
Well, Justin Fields is gonna try to do the same thing. They probably come out with the same game plan as the Ravens did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's a different path where, like, not only Henry not fumbling the ball, but it was a great comeback by Buffalo in that game, and the only game I watched full every second of, I think, last week. I watched bits of everything, but that was there's a different path where Baltimore just the narrative is that Baltimore just scored like crazy on them. We don't know about this Bills defense, and they did. It just happened that the game just sort of fluctuated very strangely in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was total breakdown or fall down by the Ravens there at that
Oh,
end.
it really was.
Yeah.
And look, the Ravens, for whatever reason, with all and it's hard to. It's like you can't blame Lamar. Like he didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Can't blame. I mean, even Derrick Henry. It's hard to blame a guy who just went completely berserk. But yeah, one fumble late. But still, it was very, very strange.
for sure.
We'll transition over to running back actually and talk a little bit about that. I've got a. I guess I'll start this one off. I have a good amount. I have 24% of McCaffrey. I probably end up a little bit less. I think that's going to be a little below the field, so that's fine with me. I hate I don't hate eating. I don't hate Chase Brown. I like to play a lot. I just feel like I'm getting a lot of chalk Chase Brown, and I'm getting a lot of chalk A-Chain. And then the ones I'm sort of more over the field on are guys like Kamara. I've got 20% of Kamara. Just sort of, look, he's going to get the work. It's just a matter of how much they can score against San Francisco. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a good, interesting pivot off of McCaffrey and Brown, especially McCaffrey because they're more close in price range. I think that Kyron Williams, but he's going to have some ownership. So I guess over the field, the other ones for me would be Breece Hall. I've got about double the field on Breece Hall. Tyrone Tracy, I'm a little above the field. Travis Etienne, I'm a little above the field. And the one who's sort of, I can't get this out of my head exactly, is why aren't we playing the Barkley and Henry? It feels like that's something that we could probably talk ourselves into in a very logical way. And I don't really see people doing that when we're all flooding to McCaffrey. I think that those guys are in the conversation. So I'd like to spread out and get a little bit more of them than I would, some of these, maybe a little bit less Brown and Henry and try to get to some Barkley and try to get to Barkley and Henry instead of so much McCaffrey and Brown. So I feel like there's so many paths for those guys to be the highest scoring running back. So that's sort of where I'm at. I'm probably going to get more of that in my hand builds. How about you, Rick?
Yeah, no, I like that idea. I think a lot of these pro style models will show that the leverage is there with Barkley and Henry. Those are the two guys that a lot of the sharps are going to be on, So I mean, that's a great call by you being a sharp as well. So, just seeing that in the projection, seeing these high usage guys, low ownership, 30+ point upside at no ownership is ideal. I mean, they're not that much more than CMC, and CMC is an elite usage guy too. But maybe they start get some guys in. Their offense might flow differently with Mac Jones. I mean, we don't really know on the CMC side. He did get a lot of work last week. Chase Brown's just priced low, 6,800 in a high volume offense, in a high volume game, and he gets work. I mean, if he gets the work he does, he could take away from Chase and Higgins as well. I like him with a mini stack. I like a lot of Chase Brown and Brian Thomas Jr. And we'll get to receiver later, but. That mini stack I like a lot built into my lineups. James Conner's in a good spot too, I think at 6'6". He's getting the work too. Travis Etienne, you mentioned at 5'7".
Are we worried about him losing some of the work this year?
Who?
James Conner.
Yeah, well, best ball people are drafting Trey Benson or
Exactly.
Benson or whatever his name is.
Is it maybe it's too early? So I didn't know what to do.
Too early. Same with Etienne. Etienne's getting the work too. They just traded away Bigsby. Everyone thought Bigsby was the guy or that new rookie they got Butane or whatever Button or whatever. He's still too early for them guys. I think you get the usage out of Etienne and James Conner this week. See how the season goes. Even Breece Hall with Braylon Allen's getting work behind him, but Breece torched last week too. So they're still going to their stud running backs, their starting running backs that they put in place. So even with Alvin Kamara that you mentioned, they got the guy. What's the guy behind him?
I keep forgetting his name.
I always forget him. He was hurt so much.
Yeah.
Kendrick Miller. Everyone's like, oh, he's going to take the role. He got a little work, but Alvin Kamara is still the guy there, he's still getting the work, So I think we don't want to chase this week. I think playing these main guys that are getting the work, like a lot of the guys that Bobby listed, I think that was a good list by Bobby. He gave up. And, Trayvon Henderson might get a little work over Ramondre Stevenson. He got a little work last week, 11 touches, but I don't know. I kind of stay away from those those newer split backfields, too. There's a lot of young guys we gotta learn about yet, but I like a lot of the stud games this week.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'll move over to wide receiver where look, again, you're going to have swappability later on, so you'll see whatever. But I'm having a hard time getting away from the Hollywood Brown thing myself. I like all the wide receivers in that game for what it's worth. I think this is a good bounce back spot for potentially AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and maybe things go a different way. I know I'm sort of talking out of both sides, guys. I said Barkley, but I do like that game probably the most on this slate, and I like that it's an afternoon game, and we'll have some switchability if you want to. So those are the ones I'm getting to, a pretty decent amount. Also have a bunch of Chase and Higgins. There's nothing unusual about that. They're going to be owned. A little over the field on Smith and Jigba. Over the field on DK Metcalf, a little revenge there for him. I got a lot of guys around 10%. Cortland Sutton, Brian Thomas, George Pickens, Devontae Adams, I've got like 14% of. But I'm sort of a little bit more on the chalky side when it comes to some of these receivers outside of guys like Pickens, Metcalf, Sutton's another one I've over the field on. A little over the field on Tyreek Hill, just sort of trying to get my money back from last week because I was very big on Hill last week. And I'll mention one guy who look out for this week at zero ownership. We've seen him do it before, and you're back in the dome. You mentioned Jared Goff earlier. Let's take some shots with Jameson Williams. I think that's another thing I plan to do today. So I'm hoping for more snaps this year. Should mean more production, hopefully. So those are sort of my main wide receivers. What do you got, Rody?
Yeah, there's so many, like you're saying. Yeah, Devontae Smith does really well without Goddard. And last year when Goddard was out, he was tearing it up.
I like
so 5,600 Devontae Smith. You got the Hollywood Brown call that you already got 5,200. Just so cheap, and they don't really have anybody to go to. I expect that a pretty condensed target share between Kelsey and Hollywood Brown, really. A lot of the star receivers last week busted, like they didn't get in the end zone. Chase had a bad game. Higgins had a bad game. Brian Thomas really didn't do much.
Well, how about that fact that the Bengals, I mean, I know everybody's on the Baltimore. I am too. I think Baltimore scores a bunch of points today, but the Bengals had 7 yards in the second half of that game and they won.
Yeah.
That's the only time it's ever happened.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So their guys did absolutely nothing. So I like a lot of these guys this week, like Lamb, Neighbors, Brian Thomas, touchdown, Sutton touchdown again. He had one last week. I'm on St. Brown even at 7K. I think he was low. I know you mentioned Jameson, but Jameson's price is just so good. I can't really find him even on this list I'm looking at here, but
he's 57 on FanDuel. It's a little more affordable, and it actually is more to his skill set. So I probably should, and I'll touch on some FanDuel stuff at the end. But I did want to mention him as a FanDuel guy that you want to.
Yeah, I had some different FanDuel stuff too. Like Zay Flowers is cheap over there. Or there's another guy that was really cheap over there. Yeah, Zay is cheap. Yeah. What about your boy Puka? Like he's showing out.
Awesome.
Like he's the high spend today. He projects well, lower ownership probably a little bit.
That might be a good spot to differentiate. Also, if everybody's going to play all these other guys, I don't think he gets treated like in people's mind. I mean, in NFL circles, yes, like they think he's a superstar. I think he is a superstar. He's going to get a little bit less ownership than those guys, so I don't mind that idea at all. Going to some of the Puka, I could see myself with that, with the both Rams receivers being pretty interesting today.
Yeah, that game's interesting to me too.
At some point, that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't mind the Arizona game too a little bit. Maybe more Trey McBride for tight end, but like Marvin Harrison got a touchdown last week. He looks okay. He's going to be the guy there. I was hoping to come on the show, Bobby, with you and like get some clarity what I want to do in some of my higher buy-ins, but man, it's a tough slate. I think I don't know. I don't really know the direction I want to go yet for quarterback.
I think there's just a lot of speculating this early in the season, and it's kind of hard to figure some things out. Like, we talked about it earlier, and I guess I'll talk about some. I mean, get to tight ends in a minute, but like, the Philly KC game, but that's sort of obvious. Jacksonville, Cincinnati, but that's sort of obvious. I think the Buffalo Jets game could be a little bit under-owned for where it could go. I mean, what did we see from the Jets last week? They gave up 4 passing touchdowns to Rodgers, and they moved the ball like crazy on offense. And now you've got a team that literally couldn't stop anything. They gave up 40 points. Maybe that game ends up, being the gold mine, or maybe a full-on hammer Baltimore stack. Those are some things I'm considering in terms of builds, but there aren't as many individual players I'm taking massive shots on that I'm against the field, and it's just kind of tricky this time of year to really know what to expect. The guys who I mentioned, like I'm taking shots on like Jameson Williams, but that's going to be like 12% of my lineups probably. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going crazy with it. I don't have the the 30%er who's going to be 5% owned quite figured out on this particular slate yet.
So what kind of contests are you playing today?
So I'm playing 5 of the 555s.
Okay.
I'm just playing 70 in the $20. I wait like till week 4 to start really going nuts because I want to get a better feel for everything. Then I'm playing all the 150, sweeps, the 100K for first, the 50K for first. I don't think I'm actually playing the other one. And then like the single entry, and then that's pretty much it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a 555. I got on FanDuel like that Millie Maker, the 250,
Yeah.
and I do a lot of single entries. I'm doing some MME, small dollar stuff, 20 maxes and stuff, the $3. I can play some of that little stuff still.
Yep.
So I do all those, and I kind of use SaberSim to build all that, and then I build my main 5 by hand build. So I just kind of got to find my main 5 builds. I play, the SPY single entry, some of the sweeps and stuff like that. Obviously, bigger contests that you're playing, so just kind of finding. I do like the Justin Fields call. I just don't know what I want to do. I'm only doing 1 555 where you have 5, so that's nice though. That's a nice contest though. So yeah, I mean.
Yeah, hey, the last time we had the 555 was the same day I won the million, and I almost It's funny, Rody. That day I almost won the 555. I finished 5th in that one when I won the million.
That's right. You were winning. You were up there on that one too.
Yeah, I had a chance. Actually, the weird part is like there's a lot of ways things go. And I actually had like Andrews in that one. So like if he catches a 2-point conversion and then the game goes to overtime, it just was a lot of stuff. And then I also the showdown I finished 2nd in. So there was a lot of things that could have gone right. Fortunately, the nuts hit. So I'll take it. But it was pretty wild. But so I'm hoping that little 555 luck comes back to me today.
Yeah, it was a good day.
It was a good day. And we'll talk about some other stuff. I did want to mention, guys, we have our NFL 2025 promo. If you want to join us, I really suggest you take a look at what we're offering. I do think that it's one of the best offerings in the industry, if not the best offering in the industry. In fact, you take all of SaberSim stuff, all of James McCool stuff for pay dirt, and then we have all of my content, Rody's content, Goldie's content. I'm sorry, Goldie's projections, Sheets projections. Brandon Cruz, who's been absolutely red hot and smoking hot. I really think this is a great offering. So I hope you guys do give us a chance for your NFL stuff. And obviously, we're coming off an NFL year that was great for me personally, and off to a flying start with Sheets already winning 75K and Brandon Cruz winning 83,000 on Sunday. Yeah. So hopefully we can get to, and hopefully we get Rody on there for the million this year. I think Rody's going to hit the million at some point. We'll see it. We're going to see it happen, Rody.
Yeah, I mean, today's the slate I think we want to try to do it on. I mean, it's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah,
we got to really get condensed on this stack. I'm really starting to like that Jets team that you're talking up again with Fields and then Garrett Wilson only at 6'5" too. I mean, if you want to stack them, they both could have a big game and be down in that game, right? They could be down chasing, Josh Allen. You got Kincaid as a cheap option on the run back. We'll get to tight end here. I don't know when you want to switch to tight end.
Yeah, but I do think we'll switch it over right now. I did want to mention one quick thing about this is a personal one for my friend, and it's in your area. It's actually in Michigan. They just launched this Battle Juice company. It's sort of like a healthy alternative to Gatorade, and it's a new juice drink. So a really good friend of mine who I used to play poker with, who Sheets knows well too, opened it. So shout out to Anthony Venturini and the Battle Juice guys. They're going to have a massive. They're in like all the stores around there, so you'll start seeing them around there. Your area.
What's it called again?
Battle Juice. They just launched yesterday. But or on Friday, I should say. But yeah, it's a cool thing. They've been working on it for a long time, and good team, and doing the right thing. And they all wanted to find a healthy alternative for their kids, so that's sort of where they ended up. Anyway, we'll go back.
I'm big into the healthy kick right now, so.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
I know it becomes addictive, and then it becomes not addictive when you get away from it. It's like a really tough thing. All right, we're going to talk about tight ends. Look, I'll lead it off real quick. I actually do like some different tight ends. I think Mark Andrews is an interesting play this week. I know he was sort of like, everybody loved him in Showdown last week because of obviously no likely. I think Mark Andrews is interesting. So he's the one I'm probably the biggest difference on the field. I've got like 16%. I think he's going to be like 5 or 6% owned. I like Kelsey. I don't mind eating a little bit of that chalk. Also gives me some pivotability for my late swap. I don't love the rest of the afternoon games outside of Philly and KC, but I'm willing to take some chances and you can always flip it over to McBride or something like that. I think McBride's also a really good play. I just don't have very much of him. To be honest, I'm a little below the field. Let me see. The other one I was looking at was sorry about this. I just lost my screen. I have Ferguson I think that he's going to be pretty chalky, but I don't mind eating some of that. A lot of people playing the Fannin. I don't have a ton of it at the moment, but I'm sort of near the field. I think that's fine. I don't. He looked. There might be something there. Kincaid, I'm a little bit above the field. I don't have that many. I'm just taking a look at my flex. I'm seeing how many tight ends I have there. I don't have that many tight ends in my flex. I don't love the position like crazy this week. That's sort of where I'm at. What about you?
Yeah, I mean the Fannin play, like you said, I feel great about that in like a cash builder. I mean, he could play in your GPP. We have so many good guys. Like, I mean, Trey McBride's been getting a lot of work. I mean, he's a good price. Travis Kelce's going to get a lot of usage, I think, without their guys. Sam Laporte at 4.8, that's a good price. That Tyler Warren, that new for the Colts, he looked like he was getting a lot of work as well. Hunter Henry, if you want to stack the Drake May stack, which we kind of liked. Miami doesn't look that great, maybe, and then Henry was getting a lot of usage. I loved
that's the understatement of the century. Miami didn't look that great. They were terrible.
Yeah. I hope Miami does bounce back this week. I hope that's a good game today, but I don't know if I'm getting on a lot of them, but I like the Hunter Henry call. Dalton Kincaid at 3.7. I really like that. I'm starting to really like that game, that Buffalo Jets game. You got that Brenton Strange again for Jacksonville Cincinnati game. I bet a lot of tight ends on bets today, like yardage overs, and I bet some touchdown tight ends. I think a couple years ago we had that big week where all the tight ends scored or something like week 2.
Yeah, there was I think it was it last year or the year before? It was one of those.
It was last year. I don't know if it was week 2 or week 3 or both. But I mean, both tight ends for the Packers and the Commanders scored on Thursday night already. So if you got some tight end bets going for the weekend still, taste it again. Then you got Evan Ingram, which didn't look very good with Bo Nix last week, but I think he's going to have a bounce back in that the dome game there too. So I like a lot of these guys. I mean, Ferguson, like you mentioned, is good. I like that game a lot. Dak, Lamb, Ferguson stack up with Neighbors run back. I mean, that sounds good to me. And one of my lineups might be that. So I like that a lot. Tight ends this week in my stack. So I'm correlating a lot of that together, I think. Some of that. So I like that. Or run backs as a play. Yeah,
and I think that Cowboy stack is interesting. I'm a little worried that the Giants defense is actually pretty good. At least the names are good. I don't know for sure what they're going to turn into, but they have the right names out there on defense for sure. All right, we can jump over it again. Same warning. If you're playing a bunch of lineups, you really don't need to have more than 20% of a defense. There's very rarely a situation where that's where you want to make your mark. As of right now, I don't mind eating some of the Cowboy chalk, and you kind of want to get off the board in general. I have the Saints because the price. I have like 15%. I've got the Dolphins. I've got the Titans. I've got I don't love that Titans thing, so I'll probably drop that ownership because I just don't like defenses against the Rams because the upside is so low. Just because Stafford doesn't make a ton of mistakes. The Ravens, if you can get to them, are obviously a good one, but I don't have more than 16% of any defense right now. That's sort of my take on the defenses today. What do you got at defense?
Yeah, I like the Saints defense. Mac Jones could make a lot of mistakes. I mean, he could do really good. That game could be a shootout, but I think the Saints defense is not very good, but we like to target those cheap defenses. So, I mean, that's a viable spot to go. I mean, Patriots, I don't mind if Miami's really that bad. Like they're 2.8, Saints are 2.5, Seahawks against, Steelers are 2.7. I'm like I said, I spread it out with these guys too. I probably have some Titans as well, 2.4. I probably have some Panthers. I think they're 2.3. Yeah, I needed $100 somewhere, and I threw them in. I mean, Murray fumbles it, makes mistakes too, running around. So that is a dome game today too. That's a game we haven't really talked too much about, but it could be a decent little shootout there for Arizona. They played a little high pace, so I don't mind the Panthers defense though. 2.3. They make a mistake, and then. Any other of these other cheap ones that I would look through? Those are about the main ones. I don't even really have a high spend defense that I really liked. I mean, 49ers maybe at 3.6 against the Saints.
Yeah.
Rams at 3.1 probably be the decent spot I would go to. I don't mind that. Tennessee against Tennessee. So, yeah, 3.1 probably. That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. So I'm just mixing all those cheap ones in and hoping for a pick six or something in any of those games.
Yeah. What happens if I'm curious? I actually think that's one bet I like. I'll throw out some bets here real quick. But you just mentioned Tennessee, so I thought I would jump into it. I think there's a chance that this game could be sneakily higher scoring than people think. Like, I don't think these receivers are going to drop every single pass like they did last week to Cam Ward. That was absolutely brutal to watch. I just don't think that's.
No, I agree. I think they have a better showing than they did. That's for sure. Yeah, that was terrible. You're right.
Yeah, and sorry, got some chat issues. Can't enter anything in the chat, and I don't think the chat can either.
What?
I can't enter. Are you able to enter anything in the chat? I'm just noticing that I'm not able to.
Something's wrong with their the chat on the restream. I'm chatting with them through YouTube.
Okay, yeah. So because the restream.
I forgot to mention that, but there's people in the chat. Yeah, there's a bunch of people chatting. Something with the restream chat ain't right. So.
Anything that comes up, let me know because I'm sort of on the restream.
One guy did ask on FanDuel, would you go Hall over Chase Brown? Same price for both, really. 7,500, 7,300 on FanDuel.
I think that's kind of interesting. I think that they're both. I have a decent amount of both of them. I actually think I would probably go.
They still project. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of projections around.
Ball, but I don't. The problem is I worry about Braylon Allen stealing a touchdown like he did last week.
So basically, I mean, Hall is super low owned on FanDuel.
Yeah,
and the projection is way low for Brees than it is Chase Brown. Even though he got all that work last week, they're still thinking Braylon Allen's the guy. That's why I said a little projections haven't kind of sorted out the 1-2 punch yet, really. On other sites, when you look at other sites or SaberSim, even I could see what they have here.
Yeah,
SaberSim's doing that diversify thing for me again here, so
we got to figure this thing out.
I'm having some issues
next week because there's some tweaks that I still haven't been able to work my way around, and I just handle in that case, and that can be good or could be bad. We'll see. But I'll just throw out a quick couple of games I like that I like today, and then I'll get into some hot takes and whatnot. And I did mention the stacked games for me were Philly, KC, nothing unusual, Jacksonville, Cincinnati, Buffalo, New York. But I like the Buffalo, New York one because you're going to get the lowest ownership, and then Baltimore as a hammer stack are sort of the main things for me. In terms of actual some bets here today, I think that I'll start backwards. I think that Kansas City is going to beat the Eagles today. I think that the Rams in Tennessee are going to go over. I think that Indy is a reasonable bet at home against Denver, but I don't love it. It's just I put it as a tier 2 one. And I really like the Jets to beat Buffalo, not just to cover in that game. So that's where I'm at today.
Really? Yeah. I'm getting Jets as my 5th team stacked. I'm getting Dallas as number 2. So that Dallas stack is coming out in SaberSim for me a little bit. And
I think the Dallas stack is going to end up being the one that people sort of roll with, that along with the Jacksonville Cincinnati game. I think you're going to see a lot of Dallas.
I'm getting not a lot of Jacksonville. I'm getting a ton. Cincinnati is my number 1 stack at 14%. Then Dallas at 12, Buffalo at 10, Baltimore at 8, Jets at 7.
Yeah,
right behind Baltimore, and then it just kind of goes anywhere from 2 to 5% on the rest of my lineups in my complete build.
Yeah, And then I guess, look, I don't even know how much I strongly believe in this take, but I did want to throw out a take that this is my bold and crazy take because I don't feel as strongly about it as I usually do this early in the season. But I'll go back to my guy Jameson Williams and say that he's going to be on. I don't know if he'll be on the winning lineup because he's only going to be in 1% of lineups. But I'm going to say he has at least 5 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's where I'm at for Jameson Williams. Rody, any hot takes for you? Anything? How do you feel about your Packers? Are you feeling strong? It's a great start. They look terrific.
The Packers. I mean, the hot take of the is basically the Packers. We lost Jaden Reed though, with a broken collarbone, but we're 6-7 receivers on that team. I mean,
they're so deep at receiver.
So many good receivers. Golden hasn't even done anything, our 1st-round pick yet. So I'm confident on that, So our defense is just phenomenal. That front 7 is there's more than just Micah there. We have Rashawn Gary. We have that 90 guy, that D tackle. They're getting after the ball. The defensive line is so good for the Packers that the offensive line can't even get to the linebackers to block them.
Yeah,
the linebackers are just making tackles on the running back all game.
Yeah,
the running backs can't break any plays because of that, I mean, they broke a little bit there late, but I just feel good about the Packers. They've just looked smooth. They're taking shots down the field, which no other team's really doing that much of this year. They're like, screw it, we're launching it. I'm loving it. We missed a couple of deep bombs too, even.
This
and
is
that
the
4th down hurt us. We would have been
up
21-0 if we would have got that 4th down, I think. But
Yeah, but also this is, I mean, you got to think this is the best team they've had, right? Like, since
Yeah,
what,
they just
Brian
got
Rodgers.
it's a complete team. You're right. It's a complete team. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
really
tough
like him.
division we play in,
And
though. I think the Lions are going to come. That's why I think this week the Lions are going to come back a little bit. I'm not getting a lot of Lions and SaberSim. I think one of my bigger buy-in lineups is going to be the Lions stack.
yeah,
Like you're talking up JMO. It might be JMO. I like the JMO, Goff, and Laporta stack is real cheap. And you can still get Brian Thomas, CMC, some other pieces, even Derrick Henry around that. If you guys want to spend up on the running backs like we talked about too.
absolutely. And by the way, we have this improved Bears defense, but we don't know for sure yet, like what it really is. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean they got torched late in that game.
late in the game, and it was a first start ever by McCarthy.
Yeah.
So
So they didn't
I don't
keep
know
it
if we should
together.
be like running and this is a really good, because the Bears in the offseason we were coming into the year thinking, okay, this defense is much improved.
Detroit's got a 27-point total. The only problem is they got so many offensive weapons. So who's it going to go to? Monty looks good for a touchdown.
Right.
Gibbs, we've talked about, and JMO you talked about. I've talked about Amon St. Brown.
You like some Laporta too. Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah, and Laporta, right? Like they got so many weapons. So it's kind of hard for a DFS perspective. You really got to nail it, or you got to be heavy MME on them and just kind of put 20% on them.
Absolutely. All right, Rody, any final sort of, and we sort of went through the show a little bit quickly, partly because I can't see any. Is there any other questions that I should?
Someone asked about defense. I said, yeah, we went over defense. We like the cheap defenses, like the Saints at 2,500 is probably the best cheap one. We said Titans and Panthers a little bit. A decent spend up, probably Rams at 3,100. It's not bad against Tennessee. We do think Tennessee's going to have a little bit better game. I didn't realize the Rams defense looks to be about 22% or high ownership on that one. I didn't realize that. That was the higher owned probably one. If you really want to go with the 49ers against the Saints, I mean, the Saints ain't great. We didn't talk much about Bobby talked a lot about Kamara, but we didn't talk about Chris Olave is really cheap. And then I think Bobby had a couple other cheap takes on FanDuel that he was going to go over, maybe a couple.
Yeah, I was going to go over some quick plays on FanDuel. Not necessarily cheap, but like I have all the Shakir on FanDuel for whatever reason. Low owned though, so I'll gamble with it. And I think we're too recency biased in general as a group. So Shakir is actually like my highest owned receiver right now. George Pickens is my second highest owned receiver. God help me. And my highest owned running back at the moment is Tony Pollard because of his price, but I don't want that to be the case. So I'm probably gonna have to change some things around over there.
Tony Pollard's very cheap on FanDuel at 5,900. That's a great
5,900 is crazy cheap.
Yeah,
but it's not like this is like a great matchup or anything. That's kind of a bad spot. So Lamar is my highest owned quarterback over there. He's going to be the most popular. Josh Allen is going to be my second most, along with Kyler Murray and Dak Prescott and Justin Fields. Actually, all the same of them. All the same of each of them.
Dave Flowers is
being overlooked today.
Huh?
One thing that's another one that I keep going. All right, what do I find out later in the day? It feels obvious, like I could have done it. Jalen Hurts and Saquon not being very owned in a game that everybody is targeting on the Chiefs side seems like maybe a mistake. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing a lot of Devontae Smith, so maybe I should take a bigger buy-in and put Jalen Hurts into it with it. I like Devontae Smith at 5,600 a lot today. He does really good without Goddard. So you're right. I'm worried about Barkley a little bit more because Chiefs run defense has been pretty good. But I mean, Barkley's a usage guy. He's going to get catches out of the backfield, and Tanks Bigsby won't be up to speed. They just traded for him. Kenneth Gainwell still projects to be behind Barkley, but not much. Barkley's still the elite guy. He does come out though. He'll bust one and then come out.
Mm-hmm.
Bronco asked about Odunze. I have him as my Lions run back currently in a build right now. Odunze I like a little bit for that Bears run back a little bit. I think that if the Lions can get a lead, the Bears will be chucking again and they'll be down, so he'll be getting a lot of work. I know DJ Moore got shaken up last week. I don't know if he's out or banged up or questionable or what, but he looks good to go. But Odunze is only 5,800 on FanDuel too, so that's not a bad price. So,
is there a chance that maybe I've overlooked that? That's another one. Have I overlooked maybe just because of the Bears did not, their offense really did not look great to me. That's a game that could be interesting, I guess. Maybe I'll put it that way. It's another one that could, sneak in as maybe being one of the games to target, even though I'm trying to keep it tight. I do.
Yeah, the ownership is extremely low on all these guys. I'm seeing 3 to 7%.
Yeah, that could be. You know what? Okay, I sold myself on it, and you sold me on it.
Gibbs is only 8%, and I mean he's got people liking him. I mean, he talked up a little bit around the industry, so that game's a little bit low.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying go overboard. Like I said, they have a lot of offensive weapons. So like you got to get the right guy with a, like Gibbs has a 3 touchdown game, and then you're money if you're all in on Gibbs. JMO hits 2 bombs and you're golden with him.
Right.
They could score 40 though. I'm not a fan of the Bears. They're at home. They had no energy against the Packers, but the Packers defense is really good. We do know that now. So like they're going to come out firing. They're at home. It's Ben Johnson's coming back to town. They want to show him up. I'm going to play a little bit of the game. So
I like it.
I got to do a little, maybe up him on SaberSim on my next build too. But
let me just check one thing here, because I actually want to make a note that I don't forget to get a little bit of exposure to that game. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. I've got it. All right, man. So anything else, or if not, you can go ahead and take us out of here, guys. We appreciate you tuning in. Do take a look at the packages. Rody, take us out of here, man.
Yeah, let me make sure. Let me switch back screen, make sure no more questions. Yeah, I don't think any more questions, so we should be good. So, guys, as always, good luck. It's week 2, and as always, let's get it.